I've been tracking my time consistently for over 1 year, and it's been such an impactful part of my productivity and me being able to juggle doing many things in my life, such as being a university student, my content online, playing basketball, and so much more. It's crazy to me that this all started off as a 30-day experiment back in September 2019. So this is my story of my experience of tracking my time and what I learned from doing this for over 1 year. Part 1. Getting started. I heard about time tracking and planning out our days a while ago, and there are loads of resources online about this, such as how Cal Newport plans his day on paper in a simple notebook, how Elon Musk plans his day in 5-minute intervals. Time blocking is where you look at all the hours that you have at the day, such as on your calendar. I use Google Calendar, for example, and you just plan out what you're going to do. For example, you say, okay, I want to wake up at this certain time. Like in my calendar, I have a reoccurring task of when I want to wake up in the morning, and then I just like to fill out the gaps with what I'm going to do in a day. For example, all my classes are automatically going Google Calendar, which links from my university calendar, so I don't have to put that in manually. I did do that in my first year, and that was very annoying and very long, but luckily I figured out a way how to do it automatically now, which has saved me a lot of time. And then I just fill out those gaps with the different things that I'm going to do in a day. I look at the projects I'm working on, the deadlines that I have coming up, and just fill out what I'm going to do during the day. And it's a combination of reoccurring things such as the classes, or when I want to work out, for example, I have that reoccurring as well, and then me putting things in manually which are like one-off. So for example, each YouTube video is a bit different how long it takes, so I don't really just put reoccurring tasks in for that, or different assignments, like because they're all their own unique thing. I know, okay, let me just like plan backwards. Say I have it due in 2 weeks, let me plan the certain amount done by this time. I've tried planning out week by week. It really doesn't work for me. So many things can change in a day, something takes much longer, and when that happens, then that messes up your whole week, and then you end up spending more time actually changing things on your calendar than actually getting things done, which is essentially a waste of time. So the best thing that I have found is having my tasks. So I have my tasks that I want to do for the week, and then each day I plan out in my Google Calendar, or sometimes on paper, which I've been testing with a bit lately. But for the majority of the time of me doing this challenge of tracking my time on my calendar, doing time blocking for over a year, coming up to 2 years, has been in Google Calendar. So what I have is I have different sections in my Google Calendar. I have different calendars for different areas of my life. I have a few different calendars for university. I have another one for the freelance work that I do and the content that I curate. Also have like a personal one and one for sports and exercise. I really like this for a lot of reasons, and getting started into this, the reason I did want to do it is because I'm able to look back and see what I was doing on a random day, which I think is really cool. I don't know, it's like, I like the power of journaling and how you can just see how you're feeling on a day, and also combining with what you're doing in a day and just seeing that. Say I was hanging out with friends on one day like 2 years ago. Oh, where was that? Oh, what day was it on? Where did we go? Like I can go on my Google Calendar and just find it. Like I think that's pretty cool. I don't know, but yeah, that's just my thoughts about it. Before I started to time block my days, I just put in events that were happening, such as when I had classes, when I was meeting up with friends, that kind of thing, but I never put in the tasks that I was doing. So like any other work that I was doing, I didn't really put that in my calendar. I really didn't have much organization before getting into this. And I really didn't have like a task list or anything like that, I don't think, not that I remember. When I first started using my calendar, that is when I started integrating things like task management systems and like getting into like digital productivity. And when I got more into all of this stuff, I wanted to try time blocking. And I'm so happy that I did. Not only did I manage to increase how much work I can get done, I can see, okay, I'm spending my time on these things, and which things do I want to prioritize more? Like, am I not spending a lot of time on something and I want to be spending a lot of time on it, and I can see that and reflect on it and make changes accordingly. And I know you can integrate your Google Calendar with task management systems. I've not really done much of this. Like I know you can integrate Todoist with your Google Calendar, like when you tick off a task, it goes away or something like that. I probably might look into that, but for the moment, the system I'm using now is working fine, so I don't want to spend more time on trying to change my system, and instead of just doing the work that I need to get done. Because I've spent a lot of time learning about systems and trying to try new productivity apps, and that is something that I'm trying to spend less time on and spend more time on actually doing the things that I'm putting in these productivity apps. That is what actually will create the results, not just finding a new productivity system. And yeah, that's something I've struggled with in the past, but I've kind of like, this system is fine, let me just work on the things that I want to work on, not spend more time on how to make the best productivity system. And while time blocking has been really impactful for me, there's been some struggles and challenges during this journey. Part 2. Obstacles and how I overcame them. Something that happened while doing time blocking was that it started to feel a bit overwhelming sometimes. Like I had all these things in front of me on my calendar, and I had all these deadlines in front of me, either by me creating my own deadlines to get stuff done, or by deadlines created by someone else, like such as for university, for example, like a certain deadline to get something done. And it felt like because I was creating so many things to do, it started to feel overwhelming. And like if I fell behind in something, the whole system would fall apart. So I managed to overcome this by changing a few approaches to how I schedule my time. For context, we have some things that are happening on a regular basis and we don't have much control over. Like, so for example, if you go to university, you have these classes that are reoccurring and they happen at a certain time. If you work a full-time job, you're working a set amount of hours every day, and these are things that happen on a regular basis. So it's about fitting things in between these times with the things that you want to do. So for example, for me for university, I don't have classes all day long. Maybe there's only a couple of hours a day. So it's about me fitting in the other things that I want to do. For example, like making videos, the like general studying that I have to do for university, the other projects that I like to work on, other filmmaking stuff, like just the other stuff that I want to do in life, like exercise, like that kind of thing. It's about fitting those things in this time that we have. We have more time than we think we do. By visualizing that on the calendar, that makes it quite clear. And like I said, I had all these things on my calendar. I had a lot of things that I put on myself to do, but it started to feel quite overwhelming. So the first thing I did, I went onto Google Calendar and I deleted everything that I didn't have to do. The only things that was really left in there was exams or coursework deadlines, classes. Apart from that, there wasn't really much in there. So then I decided to take a break from calendar blocking. I've done this a couple of times and I realized I had much more time than I thought I did. And what I realized by doing this, by not calendar blocking, I got a lot less done compared to when I was calendar blocking. Because when I calendar block, I'm planning out specifically what I'm gonna do in the day. I know that I'm setting these things to do and I'm gonna get a lot of them done, but without calendar blocking, the day doesn't have much structure. Maybe I made a to-do list still, but that does not really give me any restrictions to get it done in a certain amount of time. So something that I could probably do in 2 hours might stretch across the whole day. But when you calendar block, you're giving yourself a restricted amount of time to get it done, meaning you're probably gonna get it done much more efficiently. And what I realized that things were becoming overwhelming because I was scheduling too many things. I was overcommitting myself to do too many things, that realized that actually all of those things might not actually be feasible. Another reason it was becoming overwhelming is because I was trying to schedule my whole week. And this doesn't really work. It didn't work for me anyway. Because if one thing changes on one day, like say something takes you like 2 times longer, like sometimes things take longer than you expected and things come up randomly that you need to do, like a small task here, small task there, and you need to be able to alter for that. But if you're planning out your whole week, then you're gonna have to change the whole week and you're gonna be spending more time changing things than actually doing it. What I do now is I have all the tasks that I wanna do for the week, and then just day by day, every night before the next day, I plan out what I'm gonna do in the day. Also, something that I did try was having weekly recurring tasks, something that I wanted to do every week, like having a section to get that completed every week, do it at a certain time. I realized that didn't really work for me. It kind of like put me too much in a box. I don't really do that anymore. I have my own deadlines for things that I wanna do. Like say I want to do a certain thing every week, I have to create my own deadline for it, but then I give myself the flexibility to do it whenever I want, and it has its own advantages and disadvantages. But yeah, I like not having like myself in such a restricted box. I think it just creates more flexibility, and this simplicity of not scheduling too many things far in advance has been really helpful and kind of like mindful in a way. It doesn't seem like, oh, I've got all these things to do in the future. And every so often, I think in the future I'm going to take like just time off time blocking. It's really helpful, but I think I'm going to keep experimenting over time. Like we're trying time blocking and just having events in my calendar. I like the flexibility. Sometimes I'll do one, sometimes I'll do the other. So yeah, I guess it's just all about finding out what you want to do. I kind of realized that I do really like time blocking from doing this experiment, but also just taking some time here and there to not calendar block, I think is really, I don't know, I think that's been really helpful for me. I've done that maybe once every 3 to 6 months or something like that. It really depends on the situation. What am I doing? What things do I have coming up? It's not like I'm having a scheduled time that I will take a break from it. I'm just like seeing how things come and just doing things accordingly. Part 3, what I learned and benefits of doing this. Using Google Calendar has been really helpful. A big thing being it's digitally. So when it comes to changing things, it's much easier. It's just a drag of the mouse to change something, and it's easily to put things in when they come up at an unexpected time. By doing this time blocking, I feel much more in control. I feel much more organized. I know what's happening. I know what's coming up. I know what I need to get done by a certain point. And I feel like this has just been really helpful and just kind of like bring clarity with the different things that I'm doing in life, and just helps me to feel organized in the different things that I do. And it's so easy to have things go in there. Like for example, if I'm scheduling a Zoom call, I can like send someone my Calendly and they can easily pick a time that suits them, and I've got it like integrated with my calendar, so the only times that will come up is that I'm available, so the times that I can't do won't come up to be able to pick. And that automatically creates the Zoom call, and that automatically puts it in my calendar, which is really useful. And Cal Newport says, a 40-hour time blocked work week I estimate produces the same amount of output as a 60-hour plus work week pursued without structure. And that just shows you how planning out and saying, okay, I'm going to do these things can really just help you know what you're going to get done. Because if you just do one thing and then choose what you're going to do another thing, and then do another thing, and then choose what you're going to do next, and then do another thing, that is going to take a lot more time. You're kind of like switching between working and planning. But I feel like if you just plan and then do the things you're going to do, it's creating that separation in the mindset you're having. Hence why we can get a lot more done if we plan out our days. And when it's in my calendar, I know it's going to happen. So it's like I'm making a commitment to do what I say I'm going to do. Also, I'm trying to be a bit more relaxed with time blocking recently. So like taking the weekends off time blocking, because I used to like schedule every day, like 7 days a week. But I realized taking like the weekend off from time blocking, I think it's helped to be more present in day-to-day life and not think like, oh, what am I going to do next? What's the next thing that I'm going to do? It's more like being like, okay, let me actually like take a rest, not try to be doing something all the time. And looking back, I'm quite surprised that I've kept it up for this long. I'm so happy that I did. There's been so many benefits from it. I'm planning to just keep going with it. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. One last thing that I wanted to say is that time blocking may work for you, it may not work for you. It really depends on your preference. The only way to really find out if you do like it is to give it a go. It's been really helpful for me. If you are into videos around personal development, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon.